We live in a world full of distractions and constant worries, and it's easy to fall into the trap of overthinking. Marcus Aurelius, the famous Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, reminded us of a fundamental truth. The power over our mind resides within ourselves. We cannot control external events, but we do have control over how we react to and process those events in our minds. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask that you help me by subscribing and liking the video. That way, I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Stay until the end of this video. The final tip for overcoming overanalysis will invite you to deeply reflect on your life so far. Join us throughout the entire video and discover a revelation that will change your perspective on your own journey. Lesson 1. Change your perspective toward gratitude. Our minds can be deceptive. They often lead us into a maze of overanalysis about what we lack, what could go wrong, or what we haven't yet achieved. This is an endless loop that can leave us feeling drained and discontent. Overthinking often arises from focusing on negative aspects or on what hasn't happened yet, overshadowing the good things that are already present. Seneca once said that true happiness is in the present, without anxiously depending on the future. This gem of Stoic wisdom urges us to shift our perspective from scarcity to abundance, from overanalysis to gratitude. It's about recognizing the value of the present moment and the many blessings we often overlook when we are too busy worrying about what's to come. The practice of gratitude pulls us out of the ruts of our minds and firmly plants us in the rich soil of the present, where life truly happens. To make this shift, start by acknowledging 3 things you're grateful for each day. They don't have to be big, just genuine. They can be as simple as a delicious cup of coffee, the comfort of your favorite sweatshirt, or a message from a friend. This simple practice can shift your mind from the cycle of overthinking to a sense of appreciation for what is right now in your life. Lesson 2. Embrace impermanence in practice. Letting go. Let's be honest, our minds often get stuck in a cycle of replaying past events or worrying about the future. This is the playground of overthinking, where thoughts become sticky and linger longer than desired. It's a challenge that doesn't discriminate. It affects students worried about exams, professionals stressed about presentations, or anyone trying to fall asleep while their mind races. In the midst of this mental marathon, we can find comfort in the words of Epicurus, who tells us, "He who fears death will never do anything worth living for while alive." Although this quote may sound a bit heavy, it's really about the concept of impermanence, which is fundamental to Stoicism. Everything changes, and this includes the thoughts that seem so persistent in our minds. When we overthink, we often cling to our thoughts as if they were permanent elements in our lives. Embracing impermanence means understanding that thoughts come and go. They are not eternal. This realization can be a beacon of hope when you feel trapped by overthinking. Practically speaking, embracing impermanence involves cultivating the habit of letting go. It's like a mental cleansing, where we consciously release thoughts that no longer serve us. You can do this by imagining a river, where each thought is a leaf on the surface of the water, floating away. Or perhaps you see them as clouds, always changing, forming, and finally drifting away. Lesson 3. The Stoic legacy of Marcus Aurelius. Focus on effort, not on the outcome. Overthinking often stems from our mind's dance with the future. Its outcomes, its what-ifs, and its relentless possibilities of failure and disappointment. This projection into the future can paralyze us with fear as we obsess over the possible consequences of our actions rather than the actions themselves. We live in a results-oriented society where the end often justifies the means, And this can lead us to believe that if the outcome is uncertain, the journey isn't worth it. However, a Stoic quote from Epicurus gives us a clear directive. Don't explain your philosophy, live it. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our efforts and intentions, rather than the outcomes that we cannot control. This doesn't mean we shouldn't set goals or aspire to achieve great things, but it does mean that true value lies in the quality of our effort, the integrity of our actions, and the virtue with which we navigate our path. To apply this technique, each time you find yourself overthinking the potential outcomes of your efforts, consciously redirect your thoughts toward the effort itself. Ask yourself, are you doing your best? Are you acting with good intention? Are you staying true to your values? This approach is about being fully present in the process, putting in the work, and knowing that this is where your responsibility ends. Focusing on effort can free us from the chains of overthinking. It allows us to stay in the moment, do our best, without the heavy shadow of what could be darkening our experience. Lesson 4. The freedom of self-compassion and serving others. Take control by refocusing your energy. Have you ever found yourself trapped in a spiral of what if and worst case scenarios, replaying the same worries over and over until you feel mentally exhausted? It's like having multiple tabs open in your mind, each playing a video at full volume, and it seems like you can't pause them. This mental multitasking is a hallmark of modern life, where the pressure to stay on top of everything can lead to an endless cycle of overthinking. But just like a cluttered desk, a cluttered mind needs to be organized. Redirecting your mental energy isn't just about finding peace of mind. It's about regaining control and silencing the endless noise of what could be so you can appreciate what is. Seneca, another wise Stoic, expressed wisdom with his words when he said, "True happiness is enjoying the present without an anxious dependence on the future." This wise advice serves as a cornerstone for taking control by redirecting your energy. To stop overthinking, start by anchoring yourself in the now. Focus on one task, even something small, and channel your energy into completing it. This shift in focus pulls you out of the whirlwind of what-ifs about the future and anchors you in the present moment. The practical application is simple but profound. Engage in an activity that requires your full attention. It could be something as simple as organizing your workspace, taking a brisk walk, or immersing yourself in a book. These actions require the now, not tomorrow or yesterday. Lesson 5. Emotional control amid difficulties. Visualize your overthinking as an external force, something that lurks in your mind like fog hovering over what was once a clear and sunny day. It starts as a single worry or idea, but quickly expands, knocking you down like a storm suddenly unleashed. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with information, like hail in a storm, and our minds fill with questions like, what if? What comes next? Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and emperor, once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This quote leads us to our technique for combating overthinking, visualizing it as an external force. It's not about turning your thoughts into enemies, but about recognizing that these invasive thoughts are not the core of who you are. They are like invaders of your mental peace. Imagine these intrusive thoughts as clouds passing over a majestic mountain. You are that mountain, firm and unmoved, while the clouds momentarily drift around you. How can you defend yourself from these invaders? Stoicism teaches us to observe without getting emotionally involved. You can imagine placing those thoughts in a bubble and then watching them float away from you. This mental exercise lightens their weight and reinforces the understanding that thoughts are transient. They can only disturb your peace if you cling to them and give them power. Lesson 6. Why ignoring your feelings is not Stoicism. Create a worry period. It's a common human experience to have worries that nag us in the back of our minds, persistent like the hum of a refrigerator. Always present, sometimes barely noticeable, but undeniably there. These worries can hijack our thoughts at any moment, often when we're trying to focus on work, enjoy time with friends, or even when we're trying to sleep. It's as if our mind is a stage, and these worries are unwanted actors that refuse to leave. But consider this wisdom from the Stoic master Epictetus. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This quote might seem off topic, but it's a bold reminder to prioritize our mental peace over worrying about seeming agreeable or naive. Creating a worry period is a strategic way to give these worries their moment on stage, but only during the encore, not as the main act. Set aside a specific time each day, perhaps 20 minutes in the afternoon, when you allow yourself to fully focus on these worries. During this dedicated time, dive into your worries. Scrutinize them, understand their roots, and even write them down. What are you really worried about? How likely are these scenarios? What can you do about them? When the worry period ends, move on. You've given your worries their assigned time, and now you set them aside. Lesson 7. Emotional control. Amid difficulties, break overwhelming thoughts into concrete steps. When overthinking overwhelms us, it can feel like we're carrying the weight of a giant rock. The size of our worries seems to match the weight of the whole world, and we end up trapped beneath the dense cloud of our own thoughts. This feeling isn't unique. It's a shared human condition, aggravated in a world that demands high performance in all areas of life: work, relationships, personal growth, and social status. The pressure to excel can paralyze us with indecision and fear. As a guide through this fog of overthinking, Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound insight is the foundation of our technique, transforming overwhelming thoughts into concrete steps. When your mind is overwhelmed by a large worry or complex problem, the trick is to break it down into smaller, manageable parts. Ask yourself, what is the next step I can take? Not all 5, 10, or 20 steps ahead, just the next one. Taking a single action might seem trivial, but it's a powerful antidote to overthinking. By focusing on one action, you channel the energy of worry into doing. Lesson 8. Stoic resilience. How Marcus Aurelius teaches us to face adversity. Seek wisdom outside yourself. When we find ourselves caught in the whirlwind of overthinking, our minds often become an intricate maze, where every effort to find a way out seems to lead to more confusion and overanalysis. We try to solve a puzzle only to discover that the pieces seem to multiply endlessly, trapping us in an endless cycle. This essence of overthinking is a cycle that begins and ends within the boundaries of our own thoughts, often without offering us a clear or definitive way out. A man revered for his wisdom gave us invaluable advice. Consult your friend in everything, especially in matters that concern yourself. His advice can be useful where your own self-love might affect your judgment. These simple words encapsulate a profound truth that can serve as a compass in the stormy waters of overthinking. Stoicism teaches us that seeking perspectives outside of our own can break the endless cycle of rumination. This insight can come from a friend with a fresh perspective, the objective advice of a mentor, or the timeless wisdom found in literature. Lesson 9. How to maintain inner peace. Amid negative criticism, practice voluntary discomfort. Overanalysis traps us when we face uncomfortable situations or changes in life. Our minds tend to create imaginary scenarios over and over, trying to anticipate every possible outcome and preparing for any imaginable discomfort. This constant mental rumination can be exhausting and keeps us stuck in our comfort zone, a kind of mental prison where personal growth stalls and overanalysis becomes the jailer. Consciously facing voluntary discomfort allows us to train our minds to handle uncertainty and reduce overthinking. It's about taking small, chosen actions that push us out of our comfort zone, teaching us resilience and adaptability in the process. To integrate this practice into modern life, you can start with something small, like taking a cold shower, sleeping without a pillow, or walking instead of driving. Do something that disrupts your usual routine and sit with whatever feelings arise without judging yourself. Over time, this practice will give you a deep sense of confidence and inner strength in all areas of your life. Lesson 10. The Journey to True Wealth. Lessons from Marcus Aurelius on integrity and personal growth. Reflect on the transience of life. When we find ourselves caught in the storm of overthinking, it's usually because we've focused too much on the minute details of our lives, losing sight of the bigger picture. Our thoughts become a tangle of what if this happens, or what if that doesn't work, causing us to lose perspective. This microscopic view can make even the smallest problems seem insurmountable, consuming our mental space and energy. Seneca once wrote, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short. We are not ill-provided, but we waste what we have." This reminder encourages us to reflect on the fleeting nature of our existence. Every moment spent on overthinking is a moment not fully lived, a portion of life that goes unsavored. Stoicism urges us to ask whether our worries will carry any weight in the timeline of our life. Reflecting on the transience of life helps us prioritize our experiences and concerns. This allows us to appreciate the present and focus on what truly matters. If you found value in this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and drop a comment to let YouTube know that this content is making a difference for people like you. Your engagement helps us keep creating more powerful videos just like this, so together, we can continue growing and learning. Thanks for being part of the journey. See you in the next chapter.